Again, my name is Eleanor Flash. I'm a member of the vestry, and I'm also a member of this year's Stewardship Committee. And I would like to thank you, Reverend Adrian, for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts on stewardship this morning. My thanks to Brad Donald for his stewardship reflection last Sunday. It's not easy to go first, and I'm glad that it was Brad that had to go first. It makes it easier for me. I also thank Ann Tong for taking the lead in organizing Friday night's stewardship reception, and for all those who contributed their time, treasure, and really good food, I emphasize that, to make this a beautiful event to welcome the Reverend Ryan Fleener, who will be Incarnation's guest speaker for Commitment Sunday on November 17th. I'm a word person, so I have to look at definitions. Stewardship is broadly defined as careful and responsible management of something entrusted to our care. For example, in the prayers of the people, which was not read this Sunday, we're charged with being faithful stewards of the earth's bounty. And every year, the stewardship campaign has a theme. This year, the theme for the stewardship campaign is renewal. Renewal is many definitions, but to freshen, to revitalize, and to give new life or vigor. A very good example of the interaction of stewardship and renewal is for all of those who own or have owned an automobile. Stewardship is changing the oil, looking at the battery, rotating the tires, all of those things that you have to do to keep your car running. Because if you don't have stewardship, then you're going to find yourself in a renewal situation long before you had to. You got to get a new car. Now, both stewardship and renewal have been very much on my mind of late. I am truly and absolutely blessed to have a physical home, which many people do not, and a spiritual home, both located within a few blocks of each other. I've lived in my physical home for over 40 years, and my spiritual home for 6 or 7. I'm not even sure of the date that I first wandered into this beautiful church. My physical home is currently undergoing a renovation, a renewal, which I view more as a capital campaign, which you of the church is familiar with, like the Common Chord campaign to raise money for the organ. It's a large expense and it's out of an ordinary budget. Like many a capital campaign, my apartment renewal is over budget, taking longer than expected. I'm a little stressed. Many of you have kindly allowed me to complain, and I thank you for that. Stewardship at my physical home is the ordinary budget. You know, some of us own apartments or homes, some of us rent apartments. We're all fortunate, hopefully, to have a home. But you know that there are costs, maintenance payments to a managing agent to pay for a small staff that cleans and does the ordinary repairs, provides hot and cold running water, heat in the winter. My personal stewardship budget also includes plumbing repairs, fixing broken windows or cracked windows, paying for electricity, making the small repairs which, if ignored, will inevitably lead to a capital campaign level renewal project long before I was ready to do so. But if I don't pay the maintenance, I'm not going to have a home. And if I don't pay the electricity, the lights will go out. Our spiritual home has similar requirements for staff, maintenance, and upkeep that allows us to practice our faith in these beautiful surroundings, for funding the many outreach programs that provide comfort and assistance to those who are less fortunate than we are. Now, stewardship, bottom line, is about money, M-O-N-E-Y, something we have trouble facing head-on because perhaps it sounds cold, even jarring, at odds with how we feel about faith. Particularly today, when we've had 3 baptisms, it's All Souls, and it's the Eucharist, it's hard to just stand up here and say, I am talking about money. Feels like the Grinch at Christmas or something. Instead of facing money and budgets head on, we speak of the benefits we receive from being members of Incarnation, how good we feel about supporting our church. Reverend Fleener spoke Friday night about changing give until it hurts until give until it feels good. This is all very good, very meaningful, very accurate. But the benefits received becomes the motivation for giving to the church. But here's the thing. The gifts we receive from Incarnation are given freely without any strings attached, without asking anything from us. We are loved, cherished, blessed, consoled, prayed over, given the opportunity to participate in the ancient and sacred rituals of our church, specifically today, the rite of Holy Communion. Nothing is withheld from us. This spiritual bounty will be given to us, at least in the present, whether we pledge money to the church or not. And for me, the generosity of Incarnation to all who walk through the doors is my biggest motivation for signing a pledge card every year. For at least my first year at Incarnation, I didn't pledge. When I came to church, I gave money in the offering plate was passed, like a tip for good service, for rental of my space for service. I never really even thought about why I gave money in that offering plate when I came to church. Never thought about it. But as I grew in my faith, I also grew in my understanding that while so much was given to me here, part of what drew me to this place of worship in the first instance was the beautiful building, the thoughtful sermons, the awareness of what Incarnation did in its outreach programs, and the awareness that there must be an annual budget to make sure that our expenses are covered, that the electric bill can and will be paid, that we will not be cast out of this spiritual oasis, that the lights will not be dimmed or extinguished. While history has proved that our faith can persevere under the most extreme conditions, recent history has also shown us that through diminished attendance and lack of stewardship commitment to have a meaningful budget, the physical manifestation or our spiritual home, this beautiful place of worship, might someday have to close its doors. Our pledges are private commitments. Some can afford to pledge more than others. It is the act of pledging that is important because it allows the church to chart its path forward in the coming year. It is a statement of your faith that this institution will continue to be there for us and for future generations. We baptized 3 new saints today. We want this physical building, we want all that it offers available to them as they grow into this church. When you pledge, when you get that pledge card, you have the option to pay online or to receive a box of envelopes. I opted for the envelope. In fact, I have it right here in my pocket. There's a comfort in writing a check on Sunday morning, in placing it in the envelope for that week, and walking it from my physical to my spiritual home. The affirmative act of placing that envelope on the plate. It is a physical act of sheer gratitude for all that is freely given to me by Incarnation. Thank you very much.